What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today I want to do another case study for you, and I want to preface this case study with a question. I'm going to share with you kind of a picture of the house and the deal, kind of a couple details, okay? So you should be able to see it now. Here's a picture of the house and just kind of the numbers on the deal. So there's $115,000 in overage, okay? But when we did our research on this deal, we then discovered there was $178,000 in debt after the foreclosure. So there was a lien on this property. This was a MO, for those wondering. So this was a mortgage foreclosure. So they quit paying their mortgage, bank comes in, forecloses, gets auctions off, and it sells for more than what's owed to the bank. But then there was a second position lien or another debt on this property in addition to the mortgage for over $178,000. So with that in mind, you know there's only 115 and there's a debt of 178. Are you going to take the time and spend any money on this deal? Would you do this deal? Would you pursue this deal? And then why or why not? I'm curious to know, like, before you go on any further, pause this video and tell me down in the comments why you would or would not do this deal. I'm curious to know your thoughts, okay? So again, knowing what you know now, you know the numbers, 115 overage, $178,000 debt. Pause the video, go to the comments, tell me if you would do this deal or would you not do this deal. Okay, do that for me because I'm curious. So what did we do with this deal? Now, normally in this situation, I would probably pass. However, what I like to look at if I discover that there's debt or liens on a property, something that's very important that I like to look at personally before I just throw this lead in the trash is I will ask myself, who is the debt owed to, or who is the lien owed to? And so that's very important because there are certain things that you can do with liens and debt to where you may not have to pay the full amount, or you may not have to pay any of it. Or in some cases, you could file a claim and sometimes the lien holder doesn't file their claim. There's lots of different angles to go at it when you have a deal that has a lien or has debt associated with it. Here's the bottom line. This is what happened to this deal. We pursued this deal. We spent money on an attorney to file the claim for this overage. What was the result? What happened? Okay, so I'm going to share that with you right now. This is what happened. We got a check. We got a check for $115,000, $115,841.52. Now, we did not keep all of that money. What we were actually able to do on this deal is we were able to negotiate a settlement of that debt, of that lien that was owed to the entity who had the debt, who had the lien. Okay, and this is something you can do, guys. So just because you, and this could help, maybe this could help a lot of people, this knowledge. Okay, if you owe somebody a debt, keep in mind that there is an opportunity for you to settle that debt for less than what you owe. There is also, here's another thing, guys. This is a business, another business outside of overages where you can purchase people's debt and then go and collect it. Okay. And what do I mean by that? Let's use I'll give you an example from my own life. So I've toyed around with this business a little bit because I've read books on it and learned about it a little bit from courses and stuff. But there's things called judgments. Now, if you don't know what a judgment judgment is. A judgment is simply when you go to court and you sue somebody. And if you win, then you receive a judgment. It's basically a piece of paper that says, John owes Sally X amount of dollars because of this. That's a judgment, piece of paper from the court saying that somebody owes somebody else money. It's a debt, right? Judgments are debts. What's interesting too is then a judgment itself is just a unsecured debt. Now you can take that judgment and you can record it against a piece of property, piece of real estate, and that then becomes a lien, which is a secured debt, okay? So something that I've done is, I'll give you an example. I have purchased judgments. I'll give you an example. I found a judgment that was worth $14,000. It was a result of a lawsuit between some individuals. And the person that had won this lawsuit, they never really got any money from it. They won, but the debtors, the people that owed the money, they never paid anything. Well, I discovered that these people that owed money, they had assets, they had real estate. So I approached the person that had the debt and I said, hey, would you sell your debt to me? Would you sell your judgment to me? And long story short, I bought a judgment worth $14,000 and I bought it for $500. And then I took that piece of paper and recorded it against real estate, against the people that owed that money. So now they now owe me money. And there's lots of different ways that you can go about collecting that. You could settle it, which is obviously the best case scenario. It's a win-win scenario that way, because then what I could do, for example, let's say the person owes me $14,000 and I just say, hey, how would you like to pay half off? Pay me $7,000 and your debt is gone. Good deal for him, good deal for me, because 7,000 minus 500, $6,500 net profit. So little nugget for you guys. And we talk more in depth about that in my elite program, but that's a whole nother business. So going back to this case study, we did not buy this debt, but we just negotiated a settlement. Now, again, the debt was $178,000. The person entitled to those funds from their debt was just like, hey, we'll take 80,000. Worked out good for us, right? Now you're probably asking, well, why didn't the debtor just file their own claim and get the whole 115,000? I don't know, and I don't care. That's the reality. I don't know. They could have filed the claim. They could have said, they could have told us to screw off or whatever, kicked us to the curb, and they could have filed for the entire overage and they would have got it. Why didn't they? I don't know. Maybe they didn't know about it. Maybe they were just nice people. Frankly, I do not care, because it worked out in our favor and we were able to recover some funds for the client. Now, this one other caveat to this, this was an estate case. So the homeowners had passed away. Our client was the sole heir. It was a son. There was only one heir in this case, so pretty straightforward. We did not have to do a probate action or anything like that. And at the end of the day, yeah, we didn't get the full amount, but we did get $35,000 that we were able to split with the heir, or the son in this case. And we did a 60-40 split, 60% to our client and 40% to us, which equals a $14,000 profit. Kind of a cool deal. Learned a lot, and I got to give this, I did partner on this with some of my students. So big shout out to Ernie and Jim on this. They rocked it on this. And this was quite the deal to cut your teeth on, being one of their first deals, but they did awesome. They did the work, and it's grateful I was able to play a small part in it. So I hope you found that interesting, guys. Here's the bottom line. If you're finding leads And two things, guys. If you're finding leads and the homeowner's deceased, that's the first thing. Number two, if there's debt and liens against that property, and you're throwing those leads in the trash, you're throwing money away. That's the bottom line. Those are the two takeaways that you can get from this video. Is if you're finding overages where the homeowner is deceased, or you're finding overages where there's liens that may wipe out the overage, and you're just passing them by and throwing them in the trash, you're throwing away money. Bottom line. That's the takeaway from today's video. Very important. I cannot tell you guys how many deals I've done that, frankly, on paper, the likelihood of us getting any funds was very slim, but there was still a likelihood. And so on each case, you just have to make a judgment call. Is the risk worth the reward? Frankly, on this, the risk was, it was worth the reward. You know, I think that our costs were about close to 1,000, maybe a little more than 1,000 for attorney's fees. So yeah, there was some risk. But you got to ask yourself this: would you give up a few $100s or 1,000 or maybe even 2,000 to get back 14? Would you do that? And at the end of the day, you have to make a judgment call. And the second thing is, so here's a third takeaway. If you're passing by leads where the homeowner is deceased or that there's debt and liens, if you're just passing those by because you don't know how to handle them or you don't know what to do with them, then my advice to you would be to learn from someone that has experience handling those types of cases. That would be my advice to you. Learn from them so that you can take advantage of all leads that come across your desk, instead of just having to only deal with cases where you're dealing directly with the homeowner and there's no liens, there's no debt. It's just easy, straightforward. Guys, if you're only going after those ones, you're missing a whole segment of this niche and you're missing out on a ton of money, is the bottom line. So again, those are kind of some advanced concepts, right? You know, how do you handle debt and liens? How do you handle estate cases? I get it. When you're first starting out, you kind of want to go after the low-hanging fruit. But as you gain experience, you're going to want to take advantage of these more complicated cases, more advanced. And you've got to learn the strategies on how to do that. Learn from someone that's done it. Okay. We talk about this type of stuff in my elite program. If you've not heard of it, it's my elite overage program. It's not the course. My elite program is where I actually do coaching live with you and teach you these more advanced concepts. We keep it very small. It's 10 to 20 people at a time. Because of COVID, we've been doing it online, but I think in the future, there may be a live event where you can come out and hang out with me and learn these advanced strategies and learn how to do deals like this. So if you're interested in that, or interested in learning or getting notified of when I open that up, because I only do it a couple times a year, send us an email, nick@overagesyndicate.com, and just put elite program waiting list in the subject line. And that way, when it does open up, I'll make sure you know about it. Okay. All right, guys, that's it for today. I hope you learned something new. I hope that was of value to you. And I will continue to do case studies. I think you guys, from past case studies, I've gotten good feedback, so I'll continue to do these if you want me to. And we will see you in the next one. As always, guys, if you're just looking into the business and you're thinking about getting started, check out my free training below at overagesyndicate.com, as well as there's over 100 videos here on my YouTube channel. Check those out. And then if you're looking to get on to my program, go to school.overagecourse.com. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.